I discovered that my fiancé had shared a room with his co-worker. Checked his phone. This story is very meaningful. Everyone should hear it. Listen to Brian tell the story. I was standing in the middle of our bedroom, his clothes shoved into a suitcase, my heart hammering so hard I thought it might explode. He was still asleep, his face peaceful, oblivious to the storm that was about to hit. I stared at him, feeling the weight of all the years we had spent together. The promises, the plans, the dreams, and the betrayal. I had known something was off the moment I saw him step out of that airport. He had just come back from a 2-day work trip with F, his co-worker. I had met her before. She was the kind of woman who made everyone around her feel small. Beautiful, confident, and flirty in a way that made my skin crawl. She was married, which should have reassured me, but it didn't. I didn't even plan to pick him up from the airport. It was a last-minute decision, a way to surprise him, to show him how much I missed him. But the real surprise was mine. F saw me before he did. She wasn't happy about it. "Oh, hey," she said, her voice dripping with something I couldn't quite place. "You must have really missed him." "Of course I did," I forced a smile. "How was the trip?" "Amazing," she gushed. "Your fiancé is such a great travel partner. Honestly, I don't know how I would have survived without him. And those massages, life-changing." I froze. "Massages?" she grinned. "Oh yeah, my shoulders were killing me after the first day, and he took care of it. He's got magic hands, you know." "I didn't know. He never told me." The ride home was silent. He yawned, stretched, and went straight to bed as if nothing had happened. But I couldn't sleep. Something in me snapped. So I went through his bag. I found the hotel receipt. 1 room, 1 queen-sized bed, a couch that could be converted into a bed. He hadn't said a word about it. I should have stopped there. I should have confronted him the moment I saw it. But my hands were already shaking, my stomach already twisting into knots. So I did the one thing I had sworn I would never do. I unlocked his phone. His fingerprint worked instantly. He didn't even hesitate when he let me set it up. "It's just for convenience," he had told me. Convenience. It took less than 5 seconds to find what I was looking for. Months' worth of messages, laughing at me, mocking me, sleeping together for months. I scrolled, my heart pounding so loudly I thought it might wake him up. They had been sneaking around since 2 days after he proposed. She wanted him to leave me. He wasn't ready. But sleeping with her? That was fine. I felt my vision blur, my breath coming in short, shallow bursts. I wanted to wake him up and scream at him. Instead, I packed his things. Then I called my best friend. "I need you here. Now!" She arrived in 15 minutes, took one look at my face, and didn't ask any questions. Together, we dragged his suitcase to the door. Then I shook him awake. "Get up." He groaned, rubbing his eyes. "What? What's going on?" I threw his phone at him. "I know." He sat up so fast, it was almost funny. "Know what?" I laughed, the sound hollow. "F the texts, the hotel, the massages." He went pale. "Baby, listen." "No." He tried to grab my hands. I stepped back. "Don't touch me." His eyes were wide, desperate. "It was a mistake. I was going to stop. I love you. Please, let's talk about this." "Get out," he begged. Swore it didn't mean anything. Promised me it was over. I just stared at him. "If it didn't mean anything, why did you keep doing it?" He had no answer. I shoved the suitcase at him. "Leave." He didn't have a choice. He left that night. Came back once to grab more things. I didn't say a word. I blocked him on everything. At first, I thought I would shatter, but I didn't. I felt lighter, angrier. So I did something reckless. I slept with one of his best friends. It wasn't planned. I was drunk, hurt, and wanted revenge. He told me not to tell my ex. I laughed. Oh, I'm telling him. Maybe it was petty. Maybe it was immature. But after everything, I didn't care. For years, I had been the perfect girlfriend, the perfect fiancé. I had done everything right. And look where that got me. Now, I'm going to be single for a while. I'm going to enjoy my life, travel, meet new people, and never settle for someone who makes me feel like I'm second best. Because if there's one thing I've learned, it's this. You never really know people, but you can always learn to know yourself. And right now, I think I'm finally starting to. As if fate had a sense of humor, things didn't end with him walking out of my life. No, that would have been too simple. A week later, I was finally starting to feel like myself again. My best friend and I were out at a bar, drinking, laughing and reclaiming the life I had put on hold for a relationship that had been nothing but a lie. Then, out of nowhere, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. We need to talk. Please. I stared at the message, my fingers tightening around my glass. It was him. I blocked his number. Another message came through from a different number. You slept with my best friend? Tef is wrong with you. I smirked. Me. Oh, so cheating is only a problem when it happens to you? 3 dots appeared, disappeared, reappeared. Then, I made a mistake. We belong together. I love you. Please, let's fix this. I scoffed and threw my phone down. My best friend leaned in. What did he say? I read her the messages. She rolled her eyes. Oh, he's really gonna pull the "we belong together" card? Pathetic. I shrugged. He's desperate, she smirked. So let's make him suffer. The idea hit me before she even finished her sentence. Let's crash his night. We found out through mutual friends that he was at a different bar across town, with F. Of course, I wasn't going to let him get away with his second chances. So we walked in. The moment he saw me, his eyes widened, his jaw tightened. And then I saw her. F was sitting beside him, laughing, touching his arm like nothing had happened, like she hadn't blown up my life. She looked up, met my gaze, and smirked. I saw red. I walked straight up to their table, grabbed his drink, and dumped it over his lap. Oops. The entire bar went silent. He shot up, swearing, shaking out his shirt. What the hell? I smiled sweetly. Oh, my bad. I just thought you might want to cool off. I mean, you've been sweating so much from all that lying. He clenched his jaw. This isn't funny. Neither is cheating, but here we are. F crossed her arms. Wow, real mature. I turned to her. Oh, honey, you don't get to talk. You were laughing at me behind my back while screwing my fiancé. I think I have the right to a little pettiness. She flushed, but didn't back down. It's not my fault he wanted something you couldn't give him. The words cut deep, but I refused to let her see it. So I smiled. You're right. I took a step closer, lowering my voice. You can have him, because you know what they say. If he cheats with you, he'll cheat on you. Her smirk faltered. And then, for the grand finale, I pulled my phone out and turned the screen toward my ex. By the way, I made sure your best friend had a great time. Maybe you should ask him what I'm like in bed. His face twisted into something almost comical. Shock, anger, pain. I patted his cheek. Good luck with your new relationship. You're going to need it. Then I turned and walked out, my best friend cackling beside me. But it didn't stop there. The next morning, my phone blew up again. This time, it was F. You think you're funny? Well, guess what? He's still with me. So whatever you were trying to do, it didn't work. You're just bitter. I laughed. Me. Oh, I wasn't trying to break you up. I was just proving a point. Enjoy your cheater. But karma wasn't done yet. Because 2 weeks later, I got a message from my ex's best friend. You're not gonna believe this, but F just found out he was cheating on her too. I nearly choked on my coffee. Already? Yup. He was seeing another girl this whole time. She lost it at his apartment, threw his clothes out the window. Total meltdown. I grinned. Guess some people never learn. Some stories don't need a fairy tale ending. Sometimes, the best revenge is just moving on. I sat on my apartment balcony, sipping a glass of wine, the city lights stretching endlessly before me. The air was crisp, the kind of night where the past felt distant, like a story that no longer belonged to me. My phone buzzed again, another message from him. I didn't even have to check. I already knew the words. I miss you. I messed up. Please talk to me. It had been weeks since I last saw him, since I last heard his voice, but the desperation in his messages had only grown. F had finally seen the truth. He wasn't a prize, he was a liability. She found out the hard way that the man she had fought so hard to steal was already chasing someone else behind her back. She left, humiliated, and now he was alone. Good. I wasn't angry anymore. I wasn't even bitter. I had walked away with my dignity, while he was left picking up the pieces of the life he so carelessly shattered. You reap what you sow, I murmured to myself, blocking his number for the last time. Letting go didn't feel like a grand victory. It felt like peace. But just as I placed my phone down, another message appeared. This time from his best friend. You were right. He's been a mess without you. Drinking too much, barely showing up to work. I think he finally realizes what he lost. I let out a quiet laugh. I wasn't surprised. Men like him only ever understood loss when there was no way to get it back. As for me, I was thriving. I had learned the hardest, yet most valuable lesson. Never settle for someone who makes you feel small, who makes you doubt your worth, who forces you to beg for the bare minimum. Love should never feel like a battle you're constantly trying to win. So, to everyone who's ever been betrayed, who's ever doubted themselves because of someone else's lies, let this be a reminder. You are not their mistakes. You are not the heartbreak they left behind. You are more than enough. And one day, you'll realize that losing them was the best thing that ever happened to you. What do you think? Have you ever had to walk away from someone who didn't deserve you? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your stories.